Parshas Mishpatim. Parshas Mishpatim is a very interesting parsha. Parshas Mishpatim follows Kabbalas HaTorah that took place at the end of Parshas Yisro and starts off with the intricate laws of Bein Adam Lechaverei, of the laws of Dinei Mamanis, of Seder Nezikin, and is followed by a few other halachas, a few other mitzvahs, and then at the end of the parsha, we go right back to Kabbalas HaTorah. This is where Klal Yisrael says Nasa v'nishma. This is where the bris, the covenant between Klal Yisrael and the Rabbi Shalom is made. And the Mefarshim are bothered. Why do we stop in middle of Kabbalas HaTorah, of Parshas Yisro, insert the parsha of Parshas Mishpatim, and then go back to finishing off the parsha of Kabbalas HaTorah? And I saw a fascinating pshat. And the ikr that I saw it is in the Nesiva Shalom. And the Nesiva Shalom explains that the Torah is teaching us a very fundamental yesod. The Torah is teaching us that we know the greatness, the kedusha that there is in Divrei Torah. We know that Torah elevates a person, Torah brings up a person. And we might think that what type of Torah does that? Maybe when we learn about spiritual inyanim, maybe when we learn about Divrei Musar, Divrei Agada, things that are Meishech the Leiv, that bring the heart closer to the Rabbi Shalom. But maybe when we're learning about Bein Adam Lechaverei, we're learning about monetary laws of Chesed Mishpat, we're learning about Ganovim, the Chiyuv of a Ganef. We're learning about how one tricks his friend and what he's chayiv to do when he does that. Maybe that wouldn't have those spiritual powers of Torah to elevate the person. The Torah is telling us that that is the same koyach of kedusha, of Kabbalas HaTorah, as any part of Torah. Because the Dvar Hashem is what's mekadesh the person. And when you're learning anything in Torah that elevates the person, that uplifts the person, and that brings the person closer to the Rabbi Shalom. But Meirav Rabbi say, I think we can say a different pshat. What is the chashivas that's so important about the inyanim of Bein Adam Lechaverei? Is it just that the Torah wants people to be nice people? Is it just smiling at your friend and being nice to your friend? The Tanya in Perek Lamed Beis explains that the inyanim of Bein Adam Lechaverei that are so important is because the purpose of a person on this world is to become a spiritual person. A spiritual person is someone that's selfless. The more a person is busy with himself, a person that's busy with his own taivas, with his own ritzainis, with his own success, is not going to be connected to the Rabbi Shalom in a ruchniistic way. It's not possible for him to be totally focused on his avodas Hashem when he himself is part of the equation. And the Gain in Mishlei and the Noam Elimelech in Setel Koton both tell us that Adam lo nivra elo l'shaber es hateva. A person was created to break himself to something that's difficult for him and not do it. Something that's difficult for him to do and to do it. To go against his very nature. Because when a person breaks himself, that person is becoming a ruchniistic person. Zok the Tanya, Bein Adam Lechaverei is not about or just about smiling at your friend. Bein Adam Lechaverei is about taking yourself out of the equation and thinking about the other person. Without any negias, without any reasoning that it's worth it to be a nice guy, because then people will like me. But rather, thinking about the other person, focusing on him and only him. Zok the Tanya, that is only possible for someone who is a ruchniistic person, who is able to break himself and become selfless. That's when he can start focusing on someone else. And I think that that's what the Torah is teaching us in middle of the parsha of Kabbalah Satira. Because our purpose on this world, and therefore the purpose of Kabbalah Satira, is to become a person that can break ourselves, that can be l'shaber es hateva, that can go against our wants, our wills, our ritzonos, our taivos, and we can break it. The way that shines out is in our relationship with other people. If we're going to be selfless and not thinking about ourselves when it comes to other people, then the Torah is affecting us, and the Torah is making us into better people. And there's another part of the parsha that the Torah says over here. The Torah tells us in the middle of this week's parsha about the Isser of Macholes Asurais, about not eating things that we're not allowed to eat. And the Torah tells us, Va'anshe kodesh tiyun li. And Rashi brings from Chazal, if you're going to be careful about what you eat, then you will be kedoshim, you will be holy. Why is being careful about what we eat so crucial to the inyan of Kedusha? And the answer is very simple. Because every person has naturally a taiva to eat. A person can be very hungry. A person that hasn't eaten for a while, he's starving, and he sees something with questionable kashrus. A kadosh is someone that can control himself and not eat what he really wants to eat, because the Torah tells me, be careful, don't eat it. These two inyanim, the inyanim of ben adam lechaveroi and the inyanim of macholes asuris, are inyanim of l'shaber es hateva, are inyanim of breaking our ritzonos. And that is a crucial part of Kabbalah Satira, because that's the purpose of man on this world, as the Gain and the Naim Elimelech teach us. Meirei Rabbi say, we're entering the 6th week of Shovavim. How about if this week we do something difficult? How about if this week we try, let it be once a day, once every other day, a few times this week, to break our will. Something that we want to do, hold ourselves back. L'shaber es hateva. Let us become elevated through the Kabbalah Satira that we experienced in Parshas Yisrael. And let that bring us to the ultimate of the Kabbalah Satira, which is in Seif Parshas Mishpatim. Let us think about other people without thinking about ourselves. Let us restrain ourselves from eating something if there's a question about it. Let us work on that aspect of Kedusha, to be zeicha to become Va'anshe kodesh tiyun li.